Again, George Packard here. Great to have you back. Let's see what's on the plate today, shall we? Okay. Snow removal. Had this come across my desk several times. People talk to me about being in the snow removal business, and I got to tell you, I was in the snow removal business. It's horrible. It's got to be the worst business to be in my opinion. There were years where we made money at it, but even then it sucked. You're up all hours of the night. You can plow all day and have to plow all night. And in the lousiest conditions, you know. People, of course, when they hear a snowstorm's coming, of course, they immediately have to get in their car and get out in it. Why? I have no idea, but I'm telling you, if it's a storm, everybody comes out. It's kind of like deer in the headlights, you know? Like Ron White was saying, you guys spend all this money on licenses and clothing and bows and arrows and quivers and broadheads and game maps and tree stands and scents and all this stuff. If you really want to find a deer, just go about 60 miles an hour down the highway at night with your headlights on bright. They'll come out of the woodwork like crazy. Come right out to you. It's the same when a snowstorm hits. I swear to Christ, it's horrible out there. So you're out in the worst of conditions. It's a hard business. It is a very hard business to be in. I don't recommend that business for anybody. I really don't. Unless the money got really good. If you don't have much competition and you're making a killing at it, making a fortune, hey, good for you. I used to do it. I bought a business down in Florida that makes me money 24/7, 365 days a year. I think I would rather do that. Just me, but just saying. The winter, everyone's looking for work, especially if you're in a seasonal business where you're like in Wisconsin, where you can only mow, you know, like 6 months out of the year. And, you know, the rest of the time you're stuck. You know, what are you going to do? So there's no landscaping to be done when the snow hits the ground or the ground freezes. You can't do anything. So everybody gets into plowing. Well, because everyone gets into plowing and everyone has a plow in their truck, they're doing driveways for $10 a pop. Well, that's just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, man, they beat the prices down horrible. So, I don't know. It's just a lot of lowballing going on there, ridiculous, and I'm just not involved with that anymore, and thank God I'm not. For you guys that are doing the plowing, though, I do have something I got to throw at you. This is one lesson that I really learned. I had a big company that, you know, they've got all the big end loaders and all of that, and they do the Walmarts and Menards and all this kind of stuff, okay? We used to do them too, but we did them with skid steers and plow trucks. But these guys, it's funny because they get out there, and I've tried to throw work their way after I had gotten out of the snow removal business, because I still get calls to this day. I get tons and tons of calls for it, you know. And I tried to give them our residential lawn accounts, you know, and the one, or not lawn accounts, but plowing the driveways and doing their sidewalks. And I didn't touch a driveway for less than 25 bucks. I wouldn't touch it, you know. And if they want shoveling those sidewalks, that stuff's extra. That's not free, okay? Especially that shoveling. That shit gets old real fast, okay? So anyway, I try to tell these guys that own this big company, I'm like, you know, I gave them referrals. I would give them all these. At one year, I gave them like 30-some calls, and they wouldn't take any of them. And they told me, and then finally they just told me, customers would call me back and say, hey, George, they won't call us. They won't call us back, yada, yada, yada. And so I called them up. I'm like, what's up? And they're like, well, we don't want to go out there and, you know, do those driveways, you know, for 25 bucks a pop, because, I mean, we could take our big end loaders out and we're charging 100 bucks an hour. And I thought to myself, 100 bucks an hour for that big end loader. Okay. I can go plow a driveway in probably about 5 to 7 minutes. Okay. So how many of them driveways can I do in an hour? Okay. So I can make the same amount of money at least by plowing those driveways as you can with that great big end loader, and I don't have all that fuel that you're wasting in that end loader, that big insurance policy you got on that end loader, and all the wear and tear that goes into that end loader. I mean, that's ridiculous. So you guys that are out there that look at the big jobs like that's where all your money's at, think again. You can make money on these driveways too, you know, as long as you're not in the neighborhood where everybody's doing it for 10 bucks a pop. Okay, when we were doing it, we had a lot of mowing customers, so we got those customers in, and we'd set our price and they'd pay it. They didn't worry about the low ballers because they already trusted us. They love us. They're going to stay with us, you know. So that's kind of a niche that we had going on there. But anyway, bought the Florida business and we do that now instead, and it's much better. So you're married to the weather. So it absolutely sucks ass to be married to the weather. It does. I hate it, you know, but it is what it is. You can't go anywhere. You can't. If there's a chance of snow, that means you better stay here. You better get to bed early because there's a chance you might be plowing. If they tell you you're going to get 1 to 3 inches, well, you're probably not going to get anything. Or you might get a misting of it, you know, just a little glazing or something. They could tell you you're going to get a foot of snow and you're probably going to get an inch or 2. I mean, the weather is so screwed up here in Wisconsin, nobody can tell you anything and be accurate. Nobody, you know. So anyway, that's what I mean. I mean, you get to bed early that night. You can't spend time with your family and they're all over at the house watching movies. But you got to get to bed early because you have to plow. And you wake up in the morning and there's nothing to plow. So you did all that for nothing. Now you're wide awake. It's 3 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning because you got to bed early. Now you got to try and put yourself back to bed. That's what I mean about how it just sucks. Or you go plow that storm that happened during the day and you come back at night, you go to eat some supper and it just keeps coming. The snow keeps coming. The customers are calling up. You got to get back there and get them out. You just head right back out. You can just mow or plow literally 24 hours around the clock some days. And that sucks. So that's what I mean by how it's a horrible business to be in. But anyway, hard on the vehicles, extremely hard on the vehicles. I can't tell you how many transmissions I have put in trucks. Plowing's hard on them, especially if they're half-ton trucks. It's terrible on those things. You think of the extra insurance you have to pay, the wear and tear on those trucks, you know, and the shitty hours, and you're married to the weather and all that crap combined, man. Ugh. No thanks. Used to do it, don't do it anymore. So, anyway, that's my take on the snow plowing, guys. Appreciate the questions you got. If you have other comments, put them down below. I'll be happy to answer them as we go along. This is George Packard, and you have been at another exciting episode of Shop Talk.